Welcome to episode number 34 of the Castbar. We certainly have a full show for you today. Everything from 2 developer interviews to trying to catch up with Evan in the world first race. Settle in, everyone, because the notes are long and our drinks are full. This is going to be fun. Thank you and enjoy. Welcome, everybody, to the Castbar, the World of Warcraft podcast, channeling your content with no interrupts. Today is Sunday, July 5th at approximately 11:45 Pacific Standard Time. My name is Michael Schwahn, and with me I have Florian.
Hey there.
Hello, and returning from the dead. Okay, well, not quite. Evan, how are you?
I wasn't really dead.
Your
I
car
didn't
was.
feel all that dead. Yeah, that's not too big a deal, but it's good to be back, and it's been hard listening to the show without you guys, or without me. Listening to the show without you guys, not being part of the show the past 3 weeks. So I'm ready to make up for lost time, I guess. I'm going to give you 100 opinions a minute.
Wonderful. I appreciate opinions. It allows me to tell you that you're wrong. No, it's good to have you back. Happy Independence Day, everyone, even though it was yesterday. For our listeners that are across the pond, we miss you, but please don't tax us again, because
Never do that.
We're real happy taxing the bejesus out of ourselves right now. So, first thing, have you guys made any progress towards being able to fly when the mini patch comes out?
A little bit. I've been grinding up my rep with the new factions, whose rep grinds aren't nearly as bad as the old Draenor factions. It's pretty much just do some dailies, and I'm currently building up my rep, and hopefully I'll have it down soon.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've already knocked out a bunch of treasures, so I've pretty much got that down. It's just a matter of getting the rep at this point.
So the one that I am not sure about, because I haven't finished all of Herptiderp, that place, Nagrand yet. But the thing that I was questioning is I have explored and done I'm Alliance. I've explored and done very little in Frostfire Ridge. How much is there actually for Alliance to do there?
That's a good question. The only thing, as far as I can tell, there's one garrison quest for the garrison campaign that takes you there for a short time. And there's also a daily Apexis quest that can happen there. As far as I can tell, that's pretty much it.
Okay. I wasn't sure, and I was like, well, I'm going to have to go run all over the place anyway, because I'm going to have to go explore it as part of the Exploring Draenor requirement for flying, but so I just wasn't sure. I am pretty far behind in that. I have a good number of treasures. I think I only need to find 50 more to hit that 200 mark.
So you have to find every single treasure in the continent, right?
Is that what that is?
I'm wondering. That's what I'm asking.
No, not all of them.
Just almost
There's-
all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, a certain number of them, I guess.
200.
200 of them total. All right, cool. Well, luckily, I was trying to knock those out since kind of the beginning with those add-ons that gave you the map. Actually, I never used the add-ons. I just completed the zone story and then bought the map from the guy.
It might be all of them. If it's not all of them, it's really close, because I have all of the treasures for Shadowmoon Valley, Spires of Iraq, Talador. I'm missing one in Talador because I couldn't figure it out where it was. Gorgrond, I have all the ones in Gorgrond. I do not have all the ones in Nagrand, but I don't have Nagrand, Frostfire Ridge, or Tanan Jungle, and I'm only sitting on, what's that, I'll find it, give me a second. Not enough. Not Master Relic Hunter, that's for, what's his face? Is it part of Garrisons? Nope. What is this under? Collections? Exploration? I bet it's under Exploration. Yeah. Grand Treasure Hunter. I've only found 120, and I've cleared 4 zones. of their treasures, so it might be almost all of them.
Grand Treasure Hunter, I've gotten 25. Wow. Oh wait, no, this is my monk. This is my monk.
Oh, okay. I was like, well, good luck, Evan.
I really don't think. I wish it was account wide, right? You know, of course, the same thing wouldn't count twice, but
well, the actual progress towards the achievement that gives you flying is account wide. Like, if you have done all the quests on one toon and found all of the treasures on another, and then you explored on another, it does work that way.
Oh, well, check it out. Yeah, Master Treasure Hunter is checked off, because I guess I do have that many on Stinkhorn. And Lore Master.
You have done all the quests, sir.
I completed Lore Master during around the 18th of November last year. Which I guess we had an October release, right? Or was it November?
18th. So that means it launched on, like... Wait, how does that work? There's no way. Didn't it launch on the 21st?
I thought it launched on like the 10th or 11th.
So he did it in like 5 days.
Which is...
maybe.
Well, to be fair, Lore Master isn't that hard to get in Draenor because all the quests kind of flow together. So it's very easy to get all the quests in any of the given areas.
That is true. Yeah, just as far as just clearing the map, you know, the zones themselves are easy to knock out. Plus, you don't have to do every quest in the zone.
Fair enough. You just have to do the ones that are towards that particular zone's little quest thing. Like
exactly. Which, if you follow the quest lines and just do the one quest after the other, I mean,
like all of those had neat names. As I walk through the valley of the shadow of the moon is the one for Shadowmoon Valley.
Yeah, right.
Okay, and then one last thing before we get into the news. Evan, you have been absent. We have reviewed 2 things in that time. One is Lower Blackrock Spire, and the other is Stormwind. You are aware that we kind of ripped Lower Blackrock Spire a new one.
Mm-hmm.
What is obviously you don't have to like go into full details or anything like that, but what would you have graded? We'll start with Lower Blackrock Spire.
I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where back in the day, vanilla A pluses across the board. This is probably the best dungeon that Blizzard had made for the classic release. Very few of them since that, and the other expansions really hold a candle to it, in my opinion. For a number of the qualities it have, you know.
The only thing I ask on that particular statement is, you don't think that Stratholme was better?
No, I don't think so. Stratholme's a really close second, I would say. But if you take the entire Blackrock Spire complex, and then you compare that to like the whole Stratholme complex with the different entrances, you compare that to Blackrock Depths, I mean, they're all in the same kind of, I think, a higher caliber dungeon experience than anything they do these days. I think these days dungeons are a lot more homogenized because of things like, you know, challenge mode and mythic runs and things like that, and scaling it for multiple difficulties, when back in the day, I mean, you had the one difficulty of that dungeon.
The reason I asked about Stratholme is just because Stratholme, in my opinion, has a lot more content and fun little things about it than Lower Blackrock Spire does, and it's kind of on the same quality in terms of gameplay. They're both pretty steeped in lore. They both have really good ambience in terms of the way they look. So, I mean, Stratholme, I mean, you had like the stuff with the mailboxes, the random bosses that could or couldn't be there. If someone had the key and you could go to the servants' quarters, which now you just get to walk in the door, but
right. That's a really good point. I mean, Stratholme is, but I just think going through Deadside, where you're killing all the ziggurats to open up Baron's chambers, is a lot more kind of a cool storyline. It isn't just met with an objective list on the side of your screen. It's more kind of interactive and cinematic.
I built a boat!
But then you have things in Blackrock Spire, and I'm going to throw Upper Blackrock in as well, even though the size between that and Stratholme don't really compare if you compare Lower Blackrock and Upper Blackrock. But events like the Whelps, you know, that became famous, Leroy Jenkins and that kind of thing. I think there was a tiny dragon, like a frost dragon, you could save with a long quest line that is actually featured in the remake of Upper Blackrock Spire right now, coming back and helping you kill what's his name in the Rend arena.
Sure.
Did you notice that?
Yes.
Albie, I think.
I couldn't tell you. I'm real bad with names.
But yeah, it's just a fun place to explore, and it's so deep, and it has so much detail. And I think Stratholme is more linear. Lower Blackrock Spires are more kind of sprawling. If you go to the troll areas with the up and down ramps and things like that, and you have the beast bosses like Mother Smolderweb, and the two giant wolves, that kind of thing. I mean, these are things that you kind of have to go out of your way to clear the whole thing. It take a lot of different backtracks and paths and things, but Stratholme is more of a set path, things blocked off with fire and all that, a little bit of choice, but I don't think it's quite the exploration experience. It's a good storytelling experience, so by far.
Sure. So what then would you have given your grades on, just thinking about them right now? If you're like, yeah, snap decision, what are your grades across the board?
Lowbrack, I'm going to take into context of now Blizzard is neutered it a little bit, and I'm going to say B on ambience, C plus on gameplay, and B plus on lore. And then Stormwind, don't have a huge amount of experience with Stormwind.
I wasn't sure if you would, and that's why we chose to do it. I mean, you spent the majority of your time as a Horde player, so I mean, your largest experience with Stormwind is probably coming to kill the king, so...
Never actually done that. You need to check that off my WoW bucket list eventually. The Stormwind, though, I think has a really great ambience. Gameplay, I think it works as a city really well. Things are a little bit easier to access than, say, an Ironforge, because especially with flying. So A there too, and then lore. I mean, it's the name of the game basically. So I'll give it an A on lore. I liked having that low level experience, and how Stormwind was kind of roped into the Defias Brotherhood, that kind of thing. I think that's a cool way to make that city a little bit more real, especially at the lower levels of this game. And that's my Stormwind memories. I was an Alliance noob, just starting off back in 2007 and 8. So that's what I say.
I didn't get the grades, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I don't know if you said them.
Yeah, A's across the board.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I approve. All right, guys, let's go ahead and let's go and get into the news. Welcome to the news, everybody, and boy, is there lots of it. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about is a few of the quality of life things that kind of just snuck in, either in hotfixes or kind of under the radar in 6.2. And they're sort of quality of life things. They're just things that are smaller things that are changing. The first one is follower traits. Have you guys tried to sculpt, is the best way that I like to refer to it as, sculpt your followers? Trying to get a particular set of traits for them so that you can, have better success. Because, I mean, you'll get the followers that are like, I'm a brew aficionado, which means I like pandas. And you, like, look at your group and you're like, I don't have any pandas.
Yeah, well, I haven't really tried to... I guess it depends on how you define sculpt. I have just obtained lots and lots of new followers until I had the combination I wanted, which means I have a bunch of extra inactive followers. It would be nice to actually be able to train them in the skills I want, though, so I think that's a pretty good move.
Sure. And the move that Florian is referring to is, and it used to be if you were changing out the trait on a follower, that it would just pick and replace one at random. It's just like, oh, that one, and then it replaces the one good trait they had, and then you cry. They have changed it to where you actually get to choose. My only question on this is, with us moving to shipyards being the bigger thing, and them kind of toning down garrison missions as a whole, is this kind of a sweet afterthought that doesn't really make a difference anymore?
I think it's definitely too late for this. I mean, garrisons aren't really relevant anymore. The only time I ever use mine is to do missions to get more oil so that I can use my shipyard more at this point. So it feels like too little too late, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Evan. Yeah. I was about to ask for yours anyway.
It was, I think we were just time gated a whole lot during the beginning of the expansion. I mean, they didn't want us to hammer through the content so fast and then complain that there wasn't any. Now, I guess they're just opening up the floodgates, not because they think it's a good idea and thought they should have done it from the start, but, because now is the time where they want to kind of lift open those barriers to really just going through the content as fast as possible.
Yeah, we were complaining there wasn't content anyway, though.
Or maybe they thought that it was a more kind of interactive game or a more rewarding system if you can shoot for the 100% completions, and they make missions a lot tougher to arrange followers to beat, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think it might be a cool way to expand the system a little bit. That could have been better from the start.
Well, we'll talk about how easy it was to make missions 100% right now, and that is with Master Plan. With 6.2, the very popular add-on Master Plan, which essentially allows you to do all of your garrison missions at as high a percentile as they can possibly be at the click of a button, didn't work. It has been updated, and you are now able to go back to ignoring your garrison missions and only spending about 30 seconds to click the button to make everyone go. And I think Blizzard, and there's things to support this thought later. I don't think Blizzard expected something like Master Plan to be created, because Master Plan really simplifies the garrison missions even more. Absolutely. Because now you don't even have to think about them. But at the same time, you almost don't want to not use Master Plan because you still want the rewards.
Very true. Master Plan, I would say at this point is, well, I don't want to say mandatory, but if you're not using it, you're basically losing out and spending a lot of extra time to get things done.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, you pretty much have to use it.
Purely because of how much time it devours?
Yeah, basically. I mean, if you're going for the completion bonus, or you don't want to have to waste time with failed missions, that kind of thing, it's just I feel necessary, unless you want to just really enjoy arranging your followers and all that stuff, and you just like that a whole lot. I mean, I don't want to spend my time doing that, honestly.
I don't think most people want to spend their time doing that. And I think that's why most of us have Garrison Mission Manager and don't do that. Not Garrison Mission Manager. Well, that one too, but Master Plan.
Same thing.
Exactly. The proof's in the pudding. Look at the popularity. Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal that it didn't work, and people were like, oh my god, I can't even do garrisons now. And a lot of people weren't. They're like, oh man, if I can't hit this button and make this go, I'm just totally not going to do it. So, at least that quality of life is back. Last thing is that the salvage yard has been nerfed. They nerfed the salvage yard because they didn't like that no matter what, every single person had to have, and you can say you didn't have to, but let's face it, you had to have the salvage yard in your garrison. They've nerfed the crate that you get. The loot that you can receive from it is now significantly worse. And so now it's really terrible. Again, like, this change feels really late, and it feels kind of knee-jerky, so I don't know how necessary this really was. I mean, just like, bruh.
I mean, what is a loot table like now? I mean, how useful was it to begin with, except for transmog?
Well, there was lots of 655 and 655 gear that could come from it, and I think that was what a lot of people were trying to farm the salvage crates for, was for the higher level gear. And then there was also some very, very high cost transmogs that just essentially equated to have a bunch of money.
I see. Yeah, the transmog's pretty cool, but I think it was more just like a grab bag. Anyway, yeah, this change, and they're taking out a lot of the high level gear, but keeping the transmog stuff, that kind of thing.
I haven't had a chance to look at the full loot table. I just know that it's been pretty butchered. I think one of the things that they did more is also nerf the drop chances on a lot of anything that might be considered good.
Yeah. Ah, well. Bring the game in line. Doesn't break my heart necessarily. It does kind of ruin a big point in the game for a lot of people who consider salvage yards a really good source of their gameplay and income, But you're always having a compromise like that in the company.
Right, and I didn't put it in show notes. They also nerfed mission gold from garrisons because, well, we all know that we were getting way too much gold from our garrison missions.
Subjective. Yeah, but I feel that. I mean, whatever. They're trying to keep a handle on everything. I don't think they're making changes for no reason. Florian, do you think the changes are justified and this is just normal business as usual, or are they being weird?
I can understand the nerfing the gold missions because they were giving way too much gold, especially if you had a bunch of alts. But I really don't see the need to change the salvage yard. The salvage yard was, like you said, a grab bag. It was pretty much a fun way to just get some random items, maybe a little transmog, maybe a piece of epic gear. It was actually fun. And now it's not fun.
now you just. I mean, I guess your garbage graze stack now, so there's that.
Oh
There
yeah,
is
I'm
that.
so excited. So
Wait, hold
excited
on.
about my graze stacking, especially with a
what
vendor
stacks now
5
that
feet
didn't
away.
stack?
The salvage yard, you used to get all of those POS
Yeah.
gray items, the vendor trash. You now those all stack now, so it takes up less
Fantastic.
backspace.
Oh man, yeah, because I don't run very much overflow backspace, and if I have to, those crates stacked like 20, so I'll wait until I have 20 of them to go turn them in. It takes 3 trips. I agree with this change. Quality of life, like you said, not too important or huge, but whatever.
All right, let's move along. The legendary ring. Have you seen the animation? Did you guys check out the animation video?
Hadn't done that. No.
I have.
Okay.
I have.
Essentially, Evan, the animation video is it creates a colored bubble around you. It really does just kind of look like a priest power word shield bubble. Just it's blue, green, or red depending on which ring you have, heal, tank, or damage, and then it explodes in what kind of looks like an arcane explosion when the duration is up.
Sounds delightful.
What were your thoughts on the animation, Florian?
But, it looks okay. I mean, you definitely get a sense of being sort of empowered or powered up. I also like the little explodey bit at the end, and it just adds a nice bit of punch to the end of the proc. I think it looks okay. Honestly,
Do you think this animation is better or worse than the legendary cloak?
I don't know. I can't really comment on that.
Sure.
I would say maybe equivalent. It's not bad. It's not great. It just kind of is.
Okay, so now there is one thing that I want to ask you guys about.
All right.
When you first complete the legendary quest line, when you complete it and get your ring and it gets the proc and it's all awesome and big and magical and stuff, it's item level 735. But this item level can be upgraded. It doesn't increase anything besides the stats, so I mean it's literally, just like a piece of Warforged gear, it's just better. The way you increase it, though, is if you defeat Archimond, the end boss of Hellfire Citadel, on normal or higher, it will give you a piece of crystallized fel, and using that piece of crystallized fel on your ring will increase its item level by 3. And to get from 735 to 795 means you will need 20 of these, which means it will take 20 weeks, which is 5 months, to get up to 795.
Just in time for the next expansion.
Yeah. Thoughts?
Yeah. My first thought is why? Because, I mean, we're already on the final raid of the expansion. It's pretty much been confirmed, but I'm not going to talk about that in detail until later on. We know Archimond is the final boss. If you've already killed Archimond, why do you need the legendary ring to kill him better? I don't know. I don't really see the point.
Well, I mean, you can kill him on normal and mythic to make your ring stronger, normal and heroic to make your ring stronger and make it easier to kill things on mythic. But at the same time, it's like the big deal with the cloak, and I guess, I mean, maybe we're possibly trying to avoid you have to have the cloak in order to be considered, anything at all for people to bring along with you. But the issue is that, like, the 795 ring, you'd want that power level, even as if you've just been doing the legendary quest line passively, kind of like I have, just here and there, week on, week off through LFR, you're still going to want that high item level. But the problem is that 7 to 795, 20 weeks, I mean, if you don't kill him a week because you get a bad group or, whatever, it's going to take even longer.
I think this is basically like the ICC buff they gave everybody towards the end of Wrath of the Lich King, just to make everybody a little bit stronger. But you have to constantly work at it for the next 5 months, and then you get to enjoy this power creep or whatever, just to make the expansion a little bit easier for people who haven't been able to do it. More highly geared people to run people through the things and everything. I think they just want us to be stronger towards the end of this raid tier. And this is how they are going to do it. Just pile it into the ring quest and give us an extra, 3 item levels on that ring? Seems a little silly. I'm just not very surprised,
I just don't understand why they felt they needed to set this limit, and they couldn't just give us the $7.95 straight out.
I think they want people to do it every week. I think they want people to keep running this dungeon over and over and over again.
So they're just trying to devise more ways to force us to keep doing the content. Understood.
Yeah.
Dirty Blizzard.
Damn, I was listening to you guys talk over the last 3 weeks, and I was saying they're getting pretty pessimistic. I thought it was going to be a ray of sunshine, but no, we got to change the topic.
All right, let's go ahead and go to the next topic then. World first. Go ahead, Evan.
Fighting an Ogron.
All right, fine. I'll do it then.
I got it. No, I'm a tank. I can just go completely. Just let it run. No, these mobs are actually pretty hard. My guy's underpowered.
Your 689 item level tank is underpowered.
No. 683 is my Blood Death Knight, but I'm on the dang fresh 90 or fresh 100. 629.
Oh,
right now.
You're made of paper.
Okay.
So evidently, yeah, these people weren't. These guilds had not been in on the front page news for their clearing progress in is it Mythic now, right?
Well, the reason that I have there they are is because me and Florian talked about this last week.
Right, I was listening.
The big guilds,
heroic, right?
Yeah, the big guilds didn't show up for normal and heroic, and
like, whatever.
No, yeah, nobody knows where they are.
No, here they are though. They're this is the Mythic progression now. These numbers, or this is still the heroic progression. When's Mythic come?
This is Mythic. Mythic started on Tuesday.
So those names you remember from High Mall and Blackrock Furnace or whatever, Paragon, Method, Midwinter. They're now here. They're leading, I guess, the tables. Paragon 10 out of 13 bosses down. Method and Midwinter tied at 9. But also from Scratch, who we hadn't heard of, but he's keeping pace with Method and Midwinter. Everybody else is 8 out of the 13 bosses or lower than that even. And also a Russian name that I can't read. Also at 9 out of 13. So 2 people kind of keep pace with Method and Midwinter. Paragon leading so far. I guess we'll see how it goes.
They're tearing it up though.
I guess so. They'll be able to see that whatever secret ending there is to the end of the Mythic fight.
Yeah, I guess there is something bonus, apparently, that is in the Mythic fight, but it apparently isn't anything overwhelmingly relevant. It's just something cool. Is
it like unrevealed so far, or
no one's got to Mythic yet?
This? But on the test realms, certainly they would have been testing these fights.
I don't know.
Under strict orders not to release non-disclosure. And maybe that'll make sense, or maybe they'll announce a 3rd raid tier. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? But it does make me feel good to see the guilds that we're used to seeing back and on top. Paragon, they just kind of dropped off the face of the map after Wrath of the Lich King, and now that they're back and just completely wrecking everything, so, power to them.
Yeah, there you go. It's falling like a sports team. Do you have anybody who you're rooting for, Michael?
Not really. I just want... Just to spite Blizzard, I would like to see the Archimon go down in the first raid lockout. Purely to spite Blizzard. Nice. And because I feel like if they get taken down in the first raid lockout, that's kind of like a shot at Blizzard to try and suck less.
I guess so. I mean, you don't think they're trying to make it so that you can't do that.
Well, I mean, like, by example, the Lich King took, 5 weeks to kill him the first time. So, I mean, I would kind of like to see a boss last more than 1 or 2 raid lockouts.
Is that ever going to happen?
I don't think so. They also didn't allow the Lich King to be publicly tested, though.
Yeah, there you go. It's just like a different climate.
Yeah, I mean, it was an entirely... I wouldn't say entirely different, but it was different. But I would still like to see bosses live a little bit longer, but it's just not happening. Even when Blizzard's like, this boss is insane, the big guilds are like, yeah, Blizzard, I'm just gonna smush it, and they'll be like, yeah, it was pretty difficult. It took us 100 pulls to kill it, but we still got it down in
6 hours.
Yeah, it's like, well, okay, you make me feel small, but okay, but that's why I'm also not a world first raider.
It's taken so long. I did this part of my Death Knight already, where I'm at the Iron Docks, rescuing the architect. I still haven't built my boat yet. It's just taking long every single mob. It's like 30 seconds of pummeling him.
I am at Tanan right now. For those of you who don't know, me and Evan still haven't gotten anything done in 6.2 and are doing our intros to Tanan right now because we're behind in life. Stupid real things getting in the way of my video games. I'm also getting distracted by RPGs of the non-MMO variety, which is bad for my MMO health. But, it's still good for my video game health. Moving along. PvP. There's a couple things that we need to talk about in PvP. None of us are huge PvPers, although I think we're of the normal boat of, I'd like to do PvP and then just never do it, right?
That sounds about right.
We're like, yeah, meh. So first off, Season 2 is here. So if you are concerned about, climbing the ranks and stuff for your season, then it is time. You are able to do that. Other than that, though, one of the bigger things is that Ashran is really broken. With 6.2, they changed the ability for you to be able to queue up with a raid group, which essentially just pulled a whole bunch of people out of Ashran because they were queuing up in raids and just, smoking Ashran. And Blizzard's like, you're not allowed to be in a 40-man raid and completely crush the opposing team. And they're like, why not? And then they took it away without giving them an answer. And now we're here. But the problem is now that people can't queue up into those raids, you have to wait for the random number generator to build a team for you, and it apparently it's taking a very long time. Queues of an hour minimum is what I'm hearing.
Damn.
That is a lot.
I'll say, God, it's like Altered Valley all over again, only Altered Valley was a lot cooler than Ashran.
Yeah. So there's that. And Blizzard's response to this, because it is taking a very long time, the response that Blizzard has given is that they are working on it, that they're adding servers for Ashran, which this is the one that confused me a little bit. So if they're adding servers to Ashran, is this because only each realm can only support one instance of Ashran?
I don't know that for sure, but I think so. It's like a limited outdoor zone more so than an instance, but it seems like they're going instancy with this.
Right, and it just seems odd because, like, Wintergrass, you're just able to run into it, which is I've made this complaint about Ashran before of that it acts like you're supposed to just be able to run into it, but you can't. And then on top of that, if each realm can only have one instance of Ashran active at a time, that seems like it would make sense if you're there on the world map, but at the same time, it feels wrong if it's just an instance. Like, can each realm only handle one Alterac Valley at a time?
Well, it's definitely got to be more than that. I assume those are probably on separate instance servers, not on the actual realm server.
Right, just like Eastern Kingdom, Kalimdor, and Outland are all on different servers. Technically, you can't just walk from one to the other,
Right. It just seems like... I don't understand why, if everyone has an hour-long queue time, and if the done Battleground as instance anyway, why it doesn't just shove those people that are all waiting into a instance of the Battleground. Unless it really is putting, because we can't fly to Ashran, you can't like fly over it, so maybe they are on the world map, like in between the two cities. It just still seems very odd.
Yeah, I'm not entirely positive. We'll just have to wait till they speak up about it, or somebody asks, or they do a technical dev blog post like they've done in the past, kind of thing. It'd be interesting to know how all that kind of thing works.
It's real strange. And then, so, like I said, they're working on fixes, is what they said. And a part of me says, because they don't say what those fixes are, so a part of me questions on if they are actually working on fixes, or if that just means, like, we're trying to buy time until the next expansion when we don't have to worry about this anymore. Like, just write Ashran off as a loss and move on with their lives, since they've never really been able to get Ashran right.
I don't know.
And then one other thing is there is, since 6.2, a huge faction imbalance in Battlegrounds and also who's winning Battlegrounds. I put a link for you guys in the show notes to the current results for Battlegrounds. Across the board, Alliance is winning about 70% of Battlegrounds right now. And this is random Battlegrounds. This isn't like competitive or anything. This is just, queue up into random Battleground, 249, and if you are Alliance, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, well, that's probably the result of the racial abilities that the Alliance races have as opposed to the Horde ones. They're generally a lot better for PvP, and that results in Alliance dominance. It's only a small difference, but when you look at the large scale of things over many, many games, like this statistic does, you see just how much of a difference those racial abilities make.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll second that. I think it's a little bit of that and a little bit about the social effects that has at the high level, which is undeniable, but also how that kind of influences play at a low level.
I've seen the I've seen the racials make a larger difference for words. Make a larger difference for like arenas and stuff. It doesn't normally affect Battlegrounds that much, though.
I think it's all PvP conflict in general. The racials just help out a little more. I can't pull out examples. I'm not a big PvP guy. I just think that if they were considered good in arenas or by a certain amount of people, and that was like the kind of buzz in the community, I think anybody who is going to like PvP enough to make a character with the intent to PvP, they're going to select the racials. Or even if they're not in lieu with, or in step with the community at all. If I like PvP and I'm coming to Warcraft for the first time, I'm probably going to look at the racial abilities. And I'm probably going to land on Alliance. I think just PvP enthusiasts are more Alliance favoring.
Sure. I don't know. But Blizzard said that they are currently aware of the imbalance, but they are not really sure how to fix it. Okay, what can you do? I mean, if it is the racial imbalance, I mean, I guess you just nerf racials, but does that actually fix the problem? And, or, I mean, if you, I mean, you can't just completely butcher the Alliance racials because then they just don't matter anymore. So, I don't, and, they have more data than we do. So, I think it's really kind of hard to say on, what is or is not causing all of this to happen in such a way. I mean, I know at high competitive levels, because of the racials, Alliance is like 80% of the field. But this is just random BGs. I mean, most of the time, like, the competitive people don't normally play in random BGs. They do rated battlegrounds or arenas. And so that just makes this even more questionable.
Right. Still, though, I think people, if you take a sample of 1,000 battleground, participants across 100 battlegrounds, it's let's see, I think 90% of those people are going to be people who play battlegrounds more than 5 times a week, which rules me out,
Sure. I don't know. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What do you think, Florian?
Yeah, dude.
Is he there? Is he alive?
I think they probably look at rebalancing racials a little bit. Because if there's this big of a difference, it's obviously a problem. And that's assuming the issue is racials. It could very easily be something else, like just that the Alliance has a stronger PvP culture or something like that. But it's definitely something Blizzard needs to look into because no one wants to be on the losing side. But somebody's got to play Horde or PvP is just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, people want to win, and so if one team is always winning more, then they're going to go to that team, which makes the imbalance even larger.
Very true. Very true.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish Blizzard luck. Let's go into a closer look.
Yeah.
Welcome to a closer look, everybody. A closer look at the small section that we do, in which we give something a little bit more discussion that's in Warcraft. It is rarely newsworthy, although this week it most definitely is. And in the last week, we have had 2 developer Q&As. The first one is Ian Hazakostas, number 2.0. Florian, would you give us a little bit of information on that?
Sure. So there was a discussion with him. It wasn't nearly as in-depth as the second one, but the main things he hit on was that Blizzard does listen to our feedback, but it takes a long time for that to come into effect. And one of the examples he showed for that was the 6.2 patch, which was already been worked on before Warlords of Draenor released, so that a lot of the feedback about that we gave about things like Apexis quests being repetitive and boring, for example, wasn't actually applied to 6.2 simply because the work started before Warlords even launched, which is why 6.2 looks a lot like 6.0 in many ways.
I mean, because really they're just the same thing.
Essentially, yes. Which is understandable. I mean, you've got to prepare the patches a long way in advance. It probably takes a long time and a lot of effort to get these things done. They're not just something you can whip up the week before release.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. I mean, I wish they could.
I could whip one up a week before release, no problem. Let me add them. Maybe not. I don't know.
Be my guest. I'm willing to wait and see. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's some of these questions and stuff like this. Like, I'm surprised that it even needed clarification. I mean, with how long development can take, I mean, I knew that this was going to be a long process, so it doesn't surprise me in any way that... I mean, it's kind of like, and I'm going to get strangely political here, it's kind of like with the President of the United States. More often than not, the way that it works is that the actions of one president don't actually take effect until the next president comes into term. So, like, people will criticize Obama for a lot of the stuff, but a lot of the stuff that Obama is being criticized on, I am totally going to murder. Oh my god, I am dead. Anyway, I just got swamped by like 5 guys.
Oh god, squishy little priests.
Yep. Oh no, and they have chains, and this sounds really dirty, actually. Oh my god. Small little female human running through the woods, sworn by 5 guys. Sworn by 5 guys with chains. It's totally not profanity. Anyway, so like a lot of the stuff that Obama gets hit with is fallout from Bush, and a lot of the stuff that Bush got hit with was fallout from Clinton, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, like, people blame Obama for a lot of the stuff in the Middle East, but a lot of that he was trying to deal with after Bush had already declared war and stuff in 2001. And it works the same way here. They make the expansion comes out, people say, yeah, and to this and that and that and this. And then Blizzard goes, well, we're not able to do any of that really until the next expansion is really about how large of a delay that puts into effect. So,
yep. I mean, yeah,
calm yourselves, people. I mean,
calm right down.
Trust me, I would love it if I was like, hey, Blizzard, this is dumb. And they're like, well, we'll fix it right now then. And just, just recode the entire game because I said that I didn't like something. But that's...
Sweet. That's customer service.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Unfortunately, that's not how the world works. And so we have to accept the fact that our complaints today are heard next year. They're heard today. Our complaints made today are heard today, but they're answered next year. And it's not even Blizzard's fault. It's just that's how long this takes to...
Right. And that might be why they're increasing the size of their development team so much. I mean, if you're seeing changes today in this expansion that came from feedback that we gave them at the end of Cataclysm, I mean, that might explain why a whole lot of things are kind of out of step with what we kind of want. There's a different player base in Cataclysm. We're used to different things and we wanted different things. And then Miss Pandaria changes, what you want, or changed what I wanted when I was playing that. And then Draenor being this echo of our demands, at the end of Cataclysm, maybe they say if we have a bigger development team, we can respond faster and give them what they want sooner, so that what we develop is the most current, version of what the people are asking for. Does that make any sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll just wait and see.
Yeah,
it's about the most that we can do. The only thing, though, that this whole thing raised a question for me, and what this question is that if they were working on 6.2 in November, were they also working on 6.1 in November, or did this, because 6.1... was it always supposed to be terrible? Did they just have that plan from the beginning of, this patch is going to be bad, but...
No, I think 6.1 was some of the knee-jerk garrison changes and the professions changes that we were kind of sore for, that they were trying to kind of throw together, and ended up being a little bit too much for it to be a regular content patch. I think they planned 6.2 to be the content patch, and anything that they needed to kind of throw in the game. They knew the development on the new lighting and shadow, I guess, engine. Is that right? There's some visual overhaul on 6.1. Would be ready by then, so it was kind of like a grab all patch. We'll just implement that and anything else that needs critical fixing soon after release.
Sure,
and
maybe.
Tanan release was planned for 6.2 or 6.3 if they needed to do another patch in the middle of that, which would have been met sorely, I think. Can you imagine 2 patches of not very much content in a row?
Ugh. Sounds real bad.
Even if it didn't delay 6.2, now that we have that, even if it didn't delay this at all, that would just been a little bit tough to stomach.
I can definitely agree with that.
Which says a lot about the player base now. I mean, geez. Florian, do you think we're a bunch of whiny babies, or do you think the player base says legitimate concerns most of the time, and the vocal ones are the worst?
Well, I think some of the content concerns are very legitimate because we pay Blizzard money for content. So if they don't give us that content, that's a very real problem.
So not really whiny babies, but maybe aggravated adults.
Concerned customers. That's what I would call it.
I feel you.
Okay. I don't know. I like to complain, and I'm going to complain some more as we get into this next interview. The Corey Stockton interview. Okay, so Corey Stockton was one of the developers for Warcraft. He doesn't do not AMAs. Got something else on my mind, apparently. He doesn't do Q&As all that often. He's generally one of the more people that is comfortable with hanging back, relaxing, and just letting other people say the wrong things. But he gets to be the scapegoat this time, apparently. Do you think they just draw straws? All right, guys, we're gonna go out here and say something that upsets everybody.
Jesus.
Who wants to do it?
Nobody. If I was in that kind of position,
Nose goes.
Deliver some bad news. I'd probably volunteer for it if I thought I could do the best job, or nominate somebody who I thought was going to do a great job, just to kind of just reduce collateral damage. I mean, it's a sensitive topic, in HR. I don't want to say the first thing I know about HR because I'm going to be making it up,
Sure.
Or not HR. What am I talking about? You know what I'm trying to say?
PR?
PR.
Public relations?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No, I mean, and that's the thing, is that PR is infinitely difficult, because almost no matter what, saying one thing will upset this person, and if you don't say it, then that person doesn't get upset, but it does upset this person. So, especially with passionate nerds. There really is no way to make us happy.
We're not, that bucket isn't brimming with social, grace.
Like I said, basically what it equates to is that there's just no way to make us happy. At least in my experience, that's...
No, I think Florian would disagree with you in saying that there is a way to make us happy. It's to give us good content. And then deliver things you kind of promise on, and then make good promises that we can rely on.
Give us everything we want when we ask for it, always, and then we might not yell at you, Blizzard.
No, we're not that unreasonable.
Aren't we though? Aren't we?
That's what I just asked him for, and he seems to think that we're concerned customers, and we have like a right to have it. Right. I'm going to try to sound not so entitled. It's kind of
definitely a right.
We're expecting a certain level of content, or we're expecting the product to be a certain way, as advertised. I'm not going to talk about the Wrath of the Lich King box art as advertisements. And then we're going to speak up when those expectations aren't really met, and we don't feel like it's our fault. So Blizzard's saying, this is what you're going to expect in this expansion. We're getting a lot of hype up. They hype the crap out of it. Really excited. It's kind of falling a little bit flat, but I mean, we got to look inside and outside. Blizzard might have released something that wasn't all that great, but also, maybe with the nostalgia glasses really heavy, a lot of people coming back to this game, remembering Warcraft was kind of like in 2008, 9, 10. Maybe our expectations were a little bit fabricated to ourselves, too. So, I mean, I'm not going to make a huge... I just died.
Welcome to Danan, squish.
Black and white. Good God. Yeah, this is tough, but fun. I'm liking it so far. Florian tells me it's gonna let me down again. We're talking about letdowns and everything, what we expect from a new continent, new zone. This is a Timeless Isle 2.0, so says Blizzard. That's what we're kind of talking about. We were expecting it, so I'm going to see if those expectations hold up.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm not holding my breath either, but we'll see.
So, just to piggyback on what Florian said, we're concerned customers. We don't need to be irate or ignorant customers. I mean, there's a process behind the scenes. You can't just go to the hardware store and start screaming at some 16-year-old running the register. I think the same kind of applies here as far as etiquette.
That's not true, actually. People can, and they do, and they get what they want.
At a hardware store, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but geez, at what cost? And how often does that work?
Their public dignity that they don't actually give any Fs about.
It's even worse when you put it on the internet. But yeah, let's try to find another topic.
As a quick example, my cell phone provider is called GCI, and I have friends that literally every 6 months call up, and I always feel so sorry for whoever it is that answers the phone, because they call up they call up GCI, yell and scream and whine and moan on the phone about this and this and this and this, and they just keep yelling and whining until GCI gives them free stuff. And GCI does it. They're like, okay, we'll send you the new iPhone, we'll lower your plan by $20 a month, and you get more data. And they're like, okay, thank you, click.
Thank you.
And they literally do that every 6 months. And it's just sad.
I don't agree with that kind of...
No, I don't agree with it at all. I mean, I had a problem and I went to GCI and I didn't do that and got more from them by being nice and asking them, hey, I have paid you money on time for the last 4 years. Can you help a brother out? And they're like, yeah, sure, we can totally do this. Blah, 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 blah. Here, have a new phone. And I was like, yeah. And I was
better than the last customer called.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, we have people come in here that yell and scream at us all the time. And I'm like, I didn't want to be one of them. Anyway, we actually have real stuff to talk about. We're going to start with something smaller from the Corey Stockton interview, and that would be that Blizzard believes that the Mage Tower building in your garrison the entire expansion has been woefully underpowered. They said it's the least used building, mostly because teleporting from one zone to the next in Trinor probably isn't that big of a deal to most of us. I can tell you that it certainly isn't to me. The rewards from it were very minuscule, and that it's just kind of that they don't really think that they can really do anything to it. They want to try and fix it, but I go into that question again of, well, is it too late? Like, why even bother fixing it this late around? You know, like, we're moving towards the end of the expansion, kind of, sort of. So what's the point in fixing it now when you could be putting that time and resources to something that is more beneficial? Have either of you constructed the Mage Tower?
No, because it's useless.
Okay.
However, it is my understanding that the work orders you do at the Mage Tower do give you Apexis crystals now, which actually makes it useful since Apexis is no longer a garbage currency. So I wouldn't argue that it's totally useless. It's just, I would say, more overlooked because there's nothing I can find in-game that actually tells you that you can get Apexis crystals from the Mage Tower.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I'm kind of out on that too.
So it does have a use. It's just most people don't know about it.
Sure.
Died again going up this damn ramp. I got Draco with me. She's not doing a good job.
Well, you know, she was sickly when she was a kid, so you can only expect so much from a leper.
Do you have Uriel with you? I see lots of people running around, but they have some nameless generic Vindicator with them, throwing globs of light everywhere.
Yeah, it's Uriel.
Uriel.
Because I don't know, Drain, I have this odd dialect, so anyway, that's entirely different. Next thing. Evan, since you're dead, will you give us the next one?
Yeah. Blizzard is reportedly happy with garrisons, but would have done some things differently. And the line I'm supposed to say is, doesn't that mean you aren't really
that's just
happy
my
with them?
personal note. You don't have to say that.
No, that's I've been commanded to take this stance. Doesn't mean that they aren't happy with them. If we're happy with them, we would have done something differently. Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes without saying, I think. I think every time they release something, I'm not entirely sure how often it happens, that they said, this, feature worked out great, and I would do the same every single time. I wish they all went this well. They don't seem to be really all that vocal about it, I guess, because they just don't want somebody to say, you guys are crazy, you're drunk, if you think that was a really good success. So, but they don't mind, I guess, saying something public about something they think they would have done differently. And so I'm saying that the fact that they said this at all kind of says that, it's kind of an understatement, I'm like, yeah, they would have done some stuff differently, but they also would have done stuff so differently that they decided to make an announcement about it and mention in the interview. Unless that was just some offhand question and there was some kind of offhand remark. I don't have the context necessarily.
The Q&A is pretty full. I mean, the Corey Stockton interview was only 30 minutes, and I didn't even put everything in here that is from the interview.
I see.
But I don't know. If I don't know if I could say that I was happy about something if I'd go back and change things. That's just me personally. What about you, Florian?
I think it's too late now, especially now that we know 6.2 is going to be the next batch. There's really, really no point in trying to improve the garrison, since I don't think it's... here's the thing. I could see it being worth making improvements and updates to the garrison if they expect it to be around for a long time, i.e. if we're going to have, say, 14 months of 6.2. Which is what I've got a bad feeling that's probably what's going to happen.
It's dismal.
Because that would make garrison improvements make sense. It would also be a very bad time for us players.
You shut your dirty mouth.
I'm just being a realist.
No, that's fine. Evan, by the way, as a small little tip, your bodyguards from your barracks, if you still have it built, can go with you to...
Oh, damn. No, I don't think I have... Oh, wait, maybe I do have a barracks in this guy. I'm not positive. Let's see. I can't see it from my overhead. I might have to go grab them. I wanted to set up the outpost first before I went back, because I also have to... the other thing I have to do. Oh, yeah, complete my buildings, because I got the Gladiator Sanctum, a little bit of regen. I got the stables for a little bit of mount thing, just to make this questing experience pretty smooth.
Sure. Either way, if you have a barracks... bodyguards go with you to Tanan, because it's still technically Draenor, so power there. Moving along. Florian.
Yes, we are moving along to the next topic, which is...
which I am trying to find and pull up right now.
No, I totally know what it is.
Right, you're building up suspense. You're killing me. You're killing
totally. Oh god, I can't find it.
You're clicking on it right now.
Here we go. All right. So, oh yeah, we talked about this earlier. Well, we sort of touched on it. How garrisons have been over-optimized by players to make them way too simple, and I wouldn't really say players over-optimized the garrisons so much as Master Plan
Yeah.
optimized the garrisons and made it way too simple. Because it went from carefully choosing your followers and choosing what traits you want on them and individually slotting them into missions, and now it's just like I just hit a row of buttons to make my guys go do something and then get on with my day. And apparently that was a bad thing, that the garrisons were too simple. I don't know. It didn't feel like their gameplay was really complex and rewarding even before I started using the mod. How did you guys feel about that?
I thought it was complex and rewarding before I started using the mod. I think it was a lot of fun, especially because I was like addicted to it. You know, when the expansion first came out, I think a lot of us were.
Yep, I was. I'll admit it.
Yeah, like wanting to go home during lunch and just like refinish my missions. I mean, it was really, I guess, compelling gameplay and finding the good combinations. That was a big part of it, you know. So
I was still addicted to it even after I got Master Plan. I would wake up in the morning before work, but Master Plan just made it that much easier. It was just like, oh, click, 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 click. Cool, give me my stuff when I get home. But that was me. But now my my level of care for garrisons has kind of fallen through the floor. I don't really care about anything anymore. Like, I mostly just look for the free elemental rune fragments, because I haven't finished all of those yet. I still need a couple hundred. I have 2 tablets, so I still need a few more of those. Other than that, I'm still just looking for my my gear. Give me my free raid loot for doing absolutely nothing. I definitely keep an eye out for that.
what's your gear store up to? Are you gonna try to hit any gear store goals? I got 683 right now on my Death Knight. Gonna try to bring my monk up to that.
I am currently sitting at the number of the beast, and I'm pretty happy there at 666.
That's good.
I haven't run into any problems in terms of content. I did end up getting away from those 5 guys with chains in the woods. So
That's good.
Yeah, it's real good. That's definitely not a place where my my little dainty female human priest wants to be. So really, I mean, I've gotten so much gear from the garrison that I almost just don't care at all about, like, I was only going into Blackrock Foundry because my item level is equivalent to normal Blackrock Foundry item level. And I was only going in there for the sake of getting the elemental rune fragments.
Oh, there you go. So you still haven't found a good Alaska raiding team on your schedule or in your time frame?
No, not at all.
I have to start playing on green servers. I'm waking up or staying up real late.
I gotta find some Australians is what I need to do.
Is that right? Are they pretty close to you?
Well, they're like a few hours behind us, and it's just enough to where if they raid at like 8 o'clock at night, their time, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, our time. Which works real well, because it's like, oh, I just wake up early and raid, and then, they go to sleep, and I, move along with my life.
Exactly, funny.
Moving along, though. Evan, take another one.
I am just starting up my thingy. Finally got my outpost there.
Congratulations.
The team wanted to engage players in new ways, but garrisons became stale. They might take some things from garrisons moving forward, but only if they can pinpoint the truly fun parts of the system. I think, yeah, clearly they're going to take the things that worked and keep them going in the future, especially things that now we don't want to live without,
Okay, the question is, though, what things worked?
Exactly. That's the pinpoint the truly fun parts of the system. I think that's not going to be too hard. I like the interaction with the professions. I liked that's the number one. What about you guys? Number one thing you like the most?
I like free stuff.
Free stuff from missions, free gold, and resource and all that.
Yeah, I like free stuff.
I would say I dislike the free stuff because it's taking it's taking that content out of the world, and I just spend way too much time sitting in my garrison I actually feel that hurts it more than helps it.
Oh no, I definitely agree, but I still won't complain about being given free stuff.
No, it's still free gear. Yeah, that's very true. I would say the strongest thing for me was just managing followers, I guess. I mean, I liked the feeling of actually being in charge of somebody and having... It wasn't an RTS thing like actual Warcraft, but more feeling like I'm actually leading somebody.
Right.
I don't know how good of a job Blizzard did with actually making us feel like a commander, but it was nice to have them at least pretend we were in charge.
I don't know. The entire expansion, I felt second fiddle to Khadgar or Yidel slash... what's that guy's name? What's that orc? Duratan.
Right.
So, I mean, like, sure, I guess I'm leading the charge, but I'm still being told by somebody else to go lead the charge, so I don't feel real important. I don't feel as though my position has really changed any.
And it really hasn't. Like I said, it's all just for show.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's, I don't know. I think they'll take some stuff moving forward with it. I hope they do. I really liked having a kind of central basic command that wasn't necessarily Orgrimmar. I think it's a nice change, especially the customizable buildings and things like that. I think that's one of the coolest things about it. You bring a little bit of the real-time strategy into the game, and I think they should keep that kind of feel that we got. Like, we're influencing the world and building something that's unique to us. And then they can work on how it can interact with professions or how it can reward us for day-to-day play and how we interact with it. But the being able to customize something and, like, earn resources so you can make that new building or get that building upgrade, you know, finish all your, you know, the requirements to get the upgrade, like the auction house kind of thing. I think that's cool. Rewarding gameplay.
It definitely is. I would definitely like to see them take that farther. Maybe make our garrison more customizable, more like a real-time strategy base would be, so that, for example, we could have... one thing I really enjoyed was the invasions, which unfortunately are not relevant anymore because they don't give very good gear.
Well, invasions were also very hard to make happen. And I think that was one of the bigger issues. Like, I really enjoyed invasions, and I enjoyed, you know, getting friends together to do invasions. But you only got invasions if you went and killed somebody a whole lot. And they never just happened on their own, which doesn't make any sense to me. It's like...
Well, people who are doing the daily quests for the Apex's Crystal Zones.
Guess who wasn't doing those terrible daily quests?
Yeah, exactly.
See,
but maybe that's going to change.
Now that the Apex's Crystals actually have value, I am doing those daily quests. And nice. I've got invasions coming out the wazoo. Problem is, I just don't want to do them because none of, as far as I can tell, their rewards haven't been updated.
But mounts, man.
The bags now. They have the 4th level bag above gold that rewards, like, mounts and garrison resources. That kind of thing. Yeah.
I was not aware of that. I'll have to look into that. I like mounts. Mounts are good.
Volmar is my favorite thing. I went back to War Spear or whatever by accident after placing my outpost, and I was trying to find out how to get back. Oh. All good, yeah. Sorry, it's a little tangent. Playing the game has distracted me from keeping relevant on track speech in the podcast here.
We'll just move on. Florian, give us our next one, please.
Okay, so we're just going to go on. All right. So, unfortunately, well, or maybe fortunately, depending on how you feel about it, there are going to be more of these so-called welfare legendaries, like the Cloak and the Ring. Apparently, that's something that Blizzard likes the way it worked out, so it's going to be happening again. And they were kind of vague about whether or not we're actually going to get any like proper legendaries going forward. And by proper legendaries, I mean things that are like specific to certain classes, as opposed to just everyone can get them, and that are actually hard to get as opposed to just a really long grind. They said they were still considering those, but that's a very kind of brush off answer. So. Yeah, what do you guys think about that?
Again, I feel like that answer is just really political. It's like, we really like these, but don't worry, we still kind of think about these on the side, so we're not going to tell you that we're not going to do them anymore, because we might. But
Really might.
right now, we're just going to focus on these. And then next month, we will tell you that we're never doing these again. Because we're Blizzard, and that's the way we work. We like to string you along as we can.
All right, so okay, never mind.
But go ahead.
Oh.
No, what was it?
Where do you trade your Pixis crystals in? Is that in your garrison?
I have no idea.
No, it is in for Alliance. It's It's Lions Watch into Nan Jungle. For Horde, it's
Okay.
whatever
Walmart,
crappy
probably.
base the Horde has.
Yeah, whatever pile of sticks and reed.
Hey, I'm about to go find out whether it's a pile of sticks or spikes. A
Probably a bit of both.
little bit of both. My next
Sounds
one.
about right.
Excuse me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've done the legendary quest line for some of the older legendaries on my on some of my alts, but not when they were current. So, I mean, meh. Like, it doesn't really matter to me because, like, generally, like with the other legendaries, you were only able to do them if you were in a higher end raid, so most people didn't get to see them. With these welfare legendaries, they don't feel very special because everyone gets them, and it's just, a matter of just, putting your time in and killing the bosses as many times as you need. The thing that I think bothers me more, though, and I really don't know what the difference is, really, is that, like, I quit in the middle of Cataclysm and came back right at patch 5.4, so Siege of Orgrimmar. And so I was way behind in terms of the Legendary Cloak questline, and that had a whole big pile of grinding attached to it. But on that same note, though, I did not mind it at all. I was running Siege of Orgrimmar like a crazy person all the way up until Warlords launched. And I don't know if it was the raid or something or what was different, but I have not had that same desire to just really throw myself at something like that the same way that I did last expansion. So I am so much less inclined to do this grind and really care than I ever was. So much less inclined now this expansion to do this grind compared to how excited I was and how much I enjoyed everything last expansion.
It's probably because it's basically the same grind you're doing twice, just with different window dressing.
Maybe? I could
At least
see
that's
that.
my thought on it, because there's like in practical terms, there's not really much difference between the cloak quests and the ring quests. It's basically the same thing. Collect all these things, turn them in, collect some more things, turn them in, collect even more things. And to collect all the things, you just do a bunch of raids. It's not mechanically any different, so it's just, honestly, just kind of boring. The process of getting it is not exciting or interesting, which it should be for a legendary.
Yeah, I mean, what were the most fun legendaries ever to get in the whole game? Probably Thunder Fury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, and Sulfur and Hanaregaros. I mean, those are. I mean, I feel like every time I open my mouth, some kind of vanilla WoW nostalgia falls out before I have any chance to stop it. But I mean, honestly, I didn't do the Terragosa Dragon's Rest. I wasn't playing during that time. I don't know how fun those were to kind of build up. I never tried to drop the Blades of Azeroth off Illidan, but that doesn't seem very rewarding. It's just random number generator, for God's sake. So yeah, welfare, legendaries, that kind of thing. What are they trying to do? Put more legendaries in people's pockets so they feel like a select few people felt in vanilla? I don't think it's the same effect, and I'd rather have. Honestly, I'd rather them spend the next 5 years making a new Warcraft such that when they release it, we get to explore the whole damn thing like we were exploring vanilla at first, not just them trying to catch up with our content consumption and invent new ways to make their content more repetitive. It seems like we're chomping at their heels almost as far as developers, and they probably feel that way too. They got bloodthirsty consumers coming after them. They don't have that head start like they did when they were developing this game for the first time. Back when I was playing Warcraft 3, custom matches before the Frozen Throne probably even came out.
Sure. I don't know. Just seems I think Blizzard is going to need to figure out a slightly different direction for Warcraft. I think that's what they were trying to do with Warlords and Garrisons, but it wasn't quite the correct direction that they needed to go. So they need to try and figure out another new direction. Still not sure what that is, though, because I'm still not too thrilled. Anyway, let's go on to the next. Okay, we saved the big one for last, and it's the reason that a lot of people are real angry right now. And that is that Corey Stockton at the top of the interview announced that Hellfire Citadel is the last raid of the expansion. If you watch the cinematic after they defeat Archimonde, the story is fairly completed, and I'm going to... If you are on like a phone or something like that, just hit like plus 15 seconds because I'm going to just say a quick spoiler about this video real quick. So 15 seconds should be about the right time. So you ready to hit that button? Hit it now.
I'll time you. Wait.
You'll time me?
You're already losing them. They already hit 15 seconds.
Well, they're just going to have to hit it again. So let's wait 15 seconds again. Just, you got that timer ready again?
One sec, hold on. Stopwatch. Okay, here we go. I'm ready for you.
Okay, so now, I think 15 seconds have passed by. Unfortunately, me and Evan just stumbled over words for 15 seconds. So I'm going to count down now, Evan, and then you can time me. 3, 2, what? What?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. So basically, in the video, Archimonde dies, Gul'dan gets exiled, Yidel and Grommash have a hug, and Khadgar leaves, and they rebuild Draenor. GG, good game, story's over.
You gotta stretch it. You got 3 more seconds.
I got 3 more seconds. It doesn't matter. They've already fast-forwarded.
Okay, that's 15 seconds.
Okay, cool. So with that, the story's pretty much over then. And I don't even know how you can really hope for anything to happen after that. Like, unless, Blizzard really pulls some sort of real silly stuff that, I mean, the kind of stuff where you go like, yeah, I see what you did there, Blizzard. I guess that technically works. We're going to move on with our lives now. Thanks, I guess. Yeah. What do you think, Florian?
Let me tell you what I think. I am extremely displeased with this this turn of events. Can I continue doing spoilers, or like is spoiler time over?
Yeah, just do spoilers. I give up.
Yeah, I mean, screw it. If you guys don't want spoilers, then just like go beat the raid.
But dude, LFR Archimonde doesn't come out for like 4 more weeks or something like that.
Well, then get good, scrubs.
Oh, snap!
Wow. He is irritated, Florian. This is new ground.
Anyway, all right, look. This cutscene, this final cutscene. So, yeah, everybody's like happy that Archimonde gets beaten. Like, I think we all know Archimonde was going to lose. That's kind of how MMOs work. The good guys beat the bad guys generally. And then at the end, Grom yells, Draenor is free, and everyone's all happy, and this is great. But here's the problem. Grom is a villain. He's one of the primary antagonists of this entire expansion. Why is everybody okay with him? Why is he not being dragged off for war crime trial?
Because there's been enough bloodshed already.
That's not how that works,
Because Grom controls plenty of armies still. I mean, so if we go after Grom, I mean, it's just going to lead to more bloodshed. Do we really want more of that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean...
Do we, Florian? Do we really want more of that?
No,
we've got to make people pay for their crimes.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Without bloodshed. Justice without bloodshed sounds good.
I'm just saying. Like, for some reason, Grom suddenly seems like he's supposed to be a good guy for some reason, which makes absolutely no sense lore-wise. He's one of the primary bad guys. We should still be fighting him. When did he become a good guy? Why is he concerned about the freedom or lack of freedom of Draenor?
Have you finished questing all through Draenor? There's nothing to...
I did all the quests. Nothing explained.
Interesting.
None of it explains what goes on there. It's just like Grom suddenly is not a bad guy because of...
Reasons?
Reasons? Yeah.
Because of reasons.
The only good thing I could say about the cutscene is that Thrall's not in it.
Snap. But Khadgar is, and he's the thrall of this expansion, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but Khadgar's okay. He seems like an alright dude.
Sometimes.
When he wants to be. That's specifically that. But the other thing is the fact that this pretty much wraps things up, so now we know 6.2 is going to be the last patch, the last raid of the expansion, which makes me wonder, like, this is a one-patch expansion. I mean, like, technically 6.1 was a patch, but let's not even pretend it's a real content patch. This expansion had less raids and less content than any previous WoW expansion, and it seems like people aren't very mad about that, and I don't know why.
You know, it's funny that you say that, though, because in the interview, he even says, previous expansions have had 4 big patches, some have had 3. This one's gonna have 2 big patches because we're trying to still close up the space between expansions from one expansion to the next. So it's funny that you say that because he literally said that it has 2 major patches.
I think that's just damage control. I think he knows damn well that 6.1 was not a major patch. But
at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Blizzard did try and consider it as a major patch.
Well, they clearly consider it major enough to be worth being a 0.1. But I really don't think there's any argument that can be made that that's a proper patch. I mean, the simple fact is they launched Warlords of Draenor, and they've given us very, very little content compared to past expansions, and I don't really see why.
I don't know. Their team is larger than it's ever been before. I mean, they said that they had to spend a little bit of time getting the team acquainted with, you know, Warcraft and the process and all of that, but I still don't feel... I feel like we've lost too much for that to actually be the real reason behind it.
It's way too much. I mean, like, and you also have to consider the fact that this expansion cost more than past expansions. We paid extra money for less content, and I honestly, there's no good spin I can possibly put on
Is the
that.
content we did get higher quality to justify a higher price?
I would say the leveling content was, like, questing through the Draenor zones was awesome, and the art definitely is. Like, the art team and the music team have been on point this entire time.
So what if we consider the expansion box price as the leveling content, and then when we get to endgame, we start playing the subscription to experience the endgame content? And you judge it that way. I mean, was this leveling experience worth more than it was for you for Cataclysm, for example? Was that much better to warrant the extra $10?
I love the Cataclysm leveling experience, so I'm not the right person to ask that.
You really like Cataclysm more than Warlords of Draenor so far? I mean, at least as far as the leveling, the 1-100. Or the, whatever, not the 1-100, but...
I will say that So here's something that I'll say. I quit in Cataclysm, and I can honestly say that if it wasn't for me enjoying this podcast so much, I might have quit this expansion as well. And on that same note, though, in terms of, like, just... I feel as though the questing experience in Draenor is better, but I enjoyed leveling up in Cataclysm just as much as I enjoyed this one. But the content overall for me was better in Cataclysm.
I'll agree with that.
Interesting.
Like past expansions like Cataclysm and even Mists of Pandaria. So honest, as much as I rag on it, and God knows I rag on that thing, like gameplay wise and content wise, it was beating Warlords of Draenor into the ground, with the exceptions specifically of the questing storylines.
I will say that the progression after you hit max level in Cataclysm into preparing for your raids and all that felt a lot more epic and
felt amazing.
Realistic than this. But here, honestly, like I've never been so engrossed in a game system than when I was doing the garrisons. Honestly, it's just at max level, even getting my raid gear and everything. I thought that was a lot of fun, and I think that was more enjoyable than grinding Ram Gehen, faction reputation, honestly. So yeah, I will still say that even going all the way up to preparing for the raids and the first raid itself, High Mall, I think was better in World of Arena than it was in Cataclysm. But honestly, comparing High Mall now that I've set it to Blackwing Descent and Twilight Bastion, that was a really
one of
awesome
these raids
here.
is better than the other.
I mean, I think those two raids. I mean, I never really got all the way to the end.
No, I was saying that the Cataclysm raid was better than High Mall, regardless of which one you picked.
You might be right, and I think that might just be because of Margok. I think it was a really fun fight. It's really tedious to do. Orog too. I think High Mall is a great dungeon. It's hard to choose which one I like more, that one or Blackwing Descent.
I like Descent more.
It was just a different game back then.
It's true.
Seems different now because of the raid finder, especially looking for raid game mode.
I'll tell you what, though, healing was still the same because they keep saying they're going to change that, and it just turns into the same thing every time. We're going to change healing this expansion. Oh, wait, never mind. It's still the same thing you've always been doing.
Yeah, maybe they need to work on a new game. Maybe they need to scrap this. I think they've been trying to fix something that was originally good that hasn't kept up with the times to keep it relevant. Maybe it's time for like a brand new,
an all new Warcraft?
Yeah, I mean honestly, they're the best at creating games. I think they would do a lot better without so much baggage.
And I think that's fair. They won't. That is not something that I think will ever even be considered. Just because of the investment and the time and stuff. I mean, they could easily pull a Final Fantasy 14, wipe everything, reset it.
Right.
But I don't think they ever will.
You know what I think a second iteration of World of Warcraft would be? PvE only. And they'll just move their PvP crowd to games like Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch coming up. Because those are going to be really, really great PvP games. And I think that's going to be enough to capture enough WoW subscribers that subscribe for PvP to not really feel the hurt of losing them so much. Make WoW, or whatever variation of it, a PvE only game so they never have to balance it against PvP content again. And then just have that be our game, honestly.
Well, if we're going to say that, I need to ask you a question, though, because there are some people that are saying that Blizzard is trying to phase out Warcraft in favor of their
free-to-plays.
I guess you could call them free to play. They're money sucking, money printing, low cost games like Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. That people look at them and just assume that this game didn't cost anything for them to make. It doesn't cost anything for them to upkeep.
Absolutely not. No.
Whether it costs more or less is a subjective thing that you can decide for yourself. But, they're like, these games cost less for them to maintain and generate them more money than Warcraft. So they're trying to just phase into a system where they just rely on those funds and can just ignore Warcraft and will do away with it after some time. But I don't think that's true because the largest team is still the World of Warcraft team, and it's gotten bigger. So, I think that's just people being angry that Hearthstone is making money.
I don't know. Hearthstone, I don't really feel like captures any of the people who play Warcraft. Kind of crowd. I'm saying it's too different from anything in Warcraft to serve as a replacement, whereas Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch can definitely fill the void of people who are craving for that PvP.
Right.
Like I did, and I'm really enjoying Heroes of the Storm, and I don't step into WoW PvP just because of the gear grind and the PvE aspects of it, so.
Well, the other thing, I guess, is one of the things that's upsetting people a lot is that in that recent interview with, not the one that we just talked about with Ian Hazzikostas, the first Ian Hazzikostas interview, Ian told us that 6.2 was not the final patch and that they had more story to tell and that we should be expecting more for for Warlords of Draenor before the next expansion. Come, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, maybe, here we are sitting with Corey Stockton, who comes to tell us that Hellfire Citadel is the last raid, that they have no news for future patches, and that a future patch will purely depend on how quickly players complete the content for patch 6.2.
Oh, wow.
That and that is going to be the deciding factor on if they actually do anything else for the expansion. So we ran into that same situation again of why people get angry at Blizzard, and it's not even about it's about saying one thing and then another thing almost immediately afterwards happens. So, and this is where that trust issue come from, and also why Blizzard is retreating from being a publicly speaking company. You know, they're, pulling away from Twitter, they're pulling away from the forums, they're trying to close back up into the little shell, because they just did it again. We just were told, yo, hey, we're gonna give you more, and then 2 weeks later, like, actually, no, we're not.
We're gonna give you less. I've died like 6 times since I started over here, and I got some shoulder pads. Create a soulbound item appropriate for your loot specialization, which is no longer Mistweaver. Thank you.
Stockton was even asked, well, what about Farallon? Because we had made that same suggestion, it's like, well, maybe they will go in and do something with Farallon, because, that could make sense.
No way. I got an epic upgrade, 675.
Nice work. But he was asked about Farallon, and they said, no, they're scrapping Farallon. They thought it was a cool idea, but they couldn't fit it into the story. And they went on to go, he went on to say, like, words and things. He went on to say, like, that happens a lot. I guess Tol Barad in Cataclysm was supposed to be part of Wrath of the Lich King, but it didn't fit story-wise, so it got moved, and the same type of thing is happening with Farallon, and they're just scrapping it and moving on with their lives. But that also means that, essentially, they just have nothing moving forward for Lords of Draenor. And they don't want... And this is the curious thing, okay? He said the team isn't happy with players waiting a year for new content, and they are hoping for that to not be the case, moving from 6.2 to whatever comes next.
Oh, thank God.
Whatever comes next, that sounds to me like we're not releasing anything until the next expansion, and we're sorry it's going to be 14 months. But we feel bad about it, or at least we claim we'll feel bad about it.
But don't worry, because you'll be raiding Hellfire Citadel for at least 6 months to get your ring upgrade.
Yeah, kind of makes me wonder if the ring upgrade plan wasn't part of that.
It feels really cheap.
Is there anything less cynical we can talk about?
Is there what? No, there's not. Because, like, and this whole interview is like, and also with everything for this patch, it's like, final boss of the entire expansion is supposed to be Grom. Well, unless Grom decides to be a complete D-hole, I'm pretty sure we're friends with him now. We're supposed to get more content. Nope. We'd like to connect more with the players. Nope.
We can let them change their mind and just, I mean, think of it like a really, I don't want to be too explicit if we have a mature audience, limitation, really cool person of the preferred gender. You meet them and you start a little relationship and have a really great time, and then you want to get kind of serious, and you've been going out for 10 years now, and you're like, they're a little crazy, and they don't follow through on things they say, sometimes, but I mean, you gotta love them still, kind of a little bit, or you just dump them and move on. But if you're going to stay in the relationship, you got to learn to accept how they kind of are, and it's different because we're paying customers.
Are you speaking from personal experience, Evan?
Hopeless romantic. No, of course not. That would be depressing. Yeah, I mean, like, what do you want? You probably just want to play the game. Like, if you're still playing it, I mean, with little breaks here and there, of course, after 10 years is a long time, then they're doing something right, and so you can just enjoy the parts they are, participate in the discussion about how the game changes going forward into the future, and then keep enjoying it. Nobody's making you play. So I don't, the money I spent on the expansion, and I think about suspending my subscription from time to time if I'm really not playing very much. Of course, we got the podcast. I can't just drop out. We can't make it a half of a Heroes of the Storm podcast. But in the end, I mean, I always want to be able to log in because of things like 6.2 that came a lot sooner than I expected. I think we were trying to project like end of July, August as being likely. So here it is. You know, I'm enjoying it. I'm killing this fell-sworn berserker. And you know, and it's all right. You know,
I need to say that I constantly hear that argument of nobody is making you play. The thing is that we want to play. The problem is that we want to play things that we enjoy and not be fed the same stuff over and over again. So
Absolutely.
sure, everyone has that option of, well, you don't have to play. But the thing is that people want to. They just don't want to play garbage or play the same thing for too long, or, you know, there's a whole circle that goes into that.
And I think a good response to that, and sorry, I'll stop dominating the text here. Let Florian speak his thoughts if he's been thinking anything during this diatribe. But when you say that, yeah, we don't have to play, nobody's making you, but we want to play, I think what you're doing is you're asking Blizzard for your game. You know, it's like, I want to play a game, and Blizzard, you got to make it because Warcraft is so close to this game I want to play. It pretty much is, except for a couple of things that are wrong, and if you can fix it, then I'll have what I want. But you're making that request to that company, and that's a lot of responsibility, saying, Blizzard, give me this version of Warcraft that would be perfect for me. And I think they are hearing that from 100,000 different angles, of course, and there are 100,000 different like Warcrafts that people want to play. And if you're going to make a request like that requires such a huge amount of responsibility to take on and to make a Warcraft that satisfies as many people as possible, then you kind of have to be ready to give up a little bit some of the things that you want, that you think are necessary. You might have to give up you know, having that game here soon. You know, you might have to give up a little bit of your time giving good feedback, playing intentfully, so that you can give good feedback. You know, really go through the tank questing and say, you know, how does this questing affect me? How am I feeling? What could Blizzard hear about this to make the next zone faster? And a lot of people don't play like that. But I think it's a good exchange if you want Warcraft to be the kind of game that you want to play in the future. You know.
As a consumer, though, I am allowed to make those demands. As the person that pays Blizzard for their stuff, I am allowed to say, this is what I want, give it to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, when you're paying for this subscription, like the term of the contract and all that, all Blizzard's required to give you is your service and keep the servers up, you know? And as far as what they do with the next expansion, I mean, you haven't bought it. You don't. If you're making a request, I think you have to give something up too.
Sure. What do you think, Florian?
I think I want my batch content. That's what I really think. I mean, like, I know Blizzard has to deal with a lot of different demands, and like a lot of players are really demanding. But the simple fact is, like, we pay our $15 a month, and what we've gotten for that $15 a month has consistently gone down for over the past several expansions, and now it's to the point where we're getting basically half an expansion's worth of content. It's not cool. It's not cool, Blizzard. Especially if you want to stay in business. So, yeah, I think they need to figure out what's wrong and get it together. Either that or the next expansion better be some amazing thing they spent like 4 years working on.
As yet unrevealed.
I'm not holding my breath.
I'm not either. I really don't want to be pessimistic, but you got to give me something, Blizzard. Like, throw me a bone.
Throw Florian a bone, Blizzard. Yes, for so little.
Yeah, seriously, throw me something. Because I'm not getting anything. The very last thing that he said, though, that Corey Stockton said is, and I quote, "We would like to do more with Gul'dan in the future." So, we want to rehash our bad guy. It is kind of what I heard.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a little lazy. I don't know. I don't think Gul'dan's all that captivating a villain.
I don't think so either. I was not impressed with him in any way whatsoever at all.
He's really not a great villain.
If that's
to
the
be
tool they
honest.
need to give us a little bit of familiarity between this content and the next, yeah, I'd rather have that than this completely new set of villains that I've never heard of and have no fear of, or not really worried about what they can do, kind of thing. I don't know.
I have no fear of Gul'dan anyway, though.
But if like Khadgar turned evil because Gul'dan possessed his mind, then he'd be pretty scary.
What's wrong with new bad guys? Like, why can't I just get new ones? Like,
whereas I say it's kind of lazy to rehash an old villain to make him fit a new storyline that you didn't intend kind of from the beginning, and it seems kind of slapdash being lazy. I think inventing a whole new foe that doesn't really have any association with anything we've seen before is also kind of lazy.
well, a lot of people
if a
think
new
that this
foe
whole
came from outer
expansion was
space.
kind of lazy as a thought and was just literally meant to draw people back as a nostalgia trip.
Maybe ball's in their court now, I guess. They have our attention mostly bad, so...
True. Okay, any last comments, slams, otherwise?
Yeah, I think they're brave for doing these interviews.
I'm glad they're saying something to us. I guess it's nice of them to keep us in the loop, even if it's bad news. I think they knew very well that what they were sharing was bad news, but bad news, I think, is better than just no news and full-on silence. So for that, I'd have to applaud both of those developers.
Yeah, they take a lot of heat, and I think that's part of the reason why Blizzard is retreating. So, I don't know. It's just a bad situation all around right now, and it's not really good for anybody, and that's part of what makes all of this so rough, is that nobody is really helping anybody here, which is just leading to things being, rough. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Not literally tomorrow, but on the horizon.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm not playing the mailbag bumper this week, as we do not have any listener mail. That's probably a good thing considering just how full this show already is. If you would like to send us questions or feedback, tell us how right or wrong we are on our disdain that we have been throwing at Blizzard over the last little bit, please send your emails to thecastbar@gmail.com. You can also leave us a tweet on Twitter at Castbar Podcast. If you want to get a little vocal about it, you can call and leave us a voicemail at 508-738-2278. You can also leave us questions and feedback through our website, which is www.thecastbar.com. We love questions, we love feedback, and we'd love to hear from you. Let's go and get into... What? Go ahead.
I could mention the contest thing.
Oh, sure, go for it.
All right, so testing the waters to see whether or not you guys, our listeners, are appreciative of fan art kind of thing. What I'll be doing is holding a WoW character pose competition. So all you have to do, send an email to the Castbar, tweet us. I don't know if you can post to our Facebook wall. Can you, Michael?
Yes. I need to check that. I haven't been there in a while.
Get it to us somehow. Tweet or email is probably the most secure way. Submit a screenshot of your character posing somewhere. Doesn't matter. Just do a pose. Character selection screen. I don't care. The top 3 ones are going to be sketched out, drawn, colored in real life. Photos of those are going to be put up on the Castbar website. We'll just run the contest for a week until we have 3 entries or 3 good ones, or we'll just close it off and then make a selection based on number of entries afterwards. There might even be a chance for you to obtain the actual physical copy of the drawing if you're one of the winners. So go ahead and submit those screenshots. JPEG, is fine.
And really, almost any file type is fine. We can make it work.
Honestly, if you want to submit your screenshot from the Warcraft client via your own Twitter and just tag the Castbar podcast into that, maybe Michael can explain how best to do that. We can take entries that way, so you don't have to save a file on your computer. Just use WoW integration.
Either way, if you do have Twitter integration on your Warcraft and you have that set up, you can send the tweet out, and it does work for you to type in just at Castbar Podcast through that system. It will get to us. Do you want to put a hashtag on it if they do use Twitter?
No, don't worry about that. I think we'll be able to sift out all of them without using that. Okay,
sounds good. And you personally will be drawing the image, correct, Evan?
Oh yeah. bust out the art chops. Not as good as some of the people who post on Reddit and DeviantArt, that kind of thing. But if you'd like to have your character sketched, cartooned, illustrated, then submit a pose, and you might get lucky.
All right, let's go into the review. Welcome to the review, everybody. The review is something we do each week, and we review something in Warcraft, and it can literally be anything. We had been doing a long string of 5-man dungeons. We have been moving away from those for a time being, so that we can kind of give the rest of Warcraft some love, and so that we don't run out of dungeons for the next, couple years or so. So this week, we are going to be doing Shadowmoon Valley. Shadowmoon Valley is the I'm essentially going to call it the starting zone for the Alliance when it comes to Warlords of Draenor. You can see we are doing the new one, right? Not the old one.
I hope so. That's what I prepared.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure as well because I realized I didn't make that distinction when when I made
about that Black Temple, right?
Yeah, exactly. We split the review into 3 sections: gameplay, ambience, gameplay, and lore. Ambience is what you see, what you hear, what you feel. Gameplay, obviously, is, mobs, quests, bosses, if there are any, rare spawns, loots, etc. And then lore is the story that's involved. And
I
Warcraft
really don't
is...
like that Illidan guy at all. He's a jerk.
Who?
That Illidan guy is a jerk.
He is a jerk.
Really don't like him.
He's always been a jerk. But that's a story for another day. I will go ahead and kick us off in ambience because I have spent way too much time in Shadowmoon Valley. Most of the time has actually been spent camping out in my garrison like a boss, because I'm a boss. Anyway, don't mind me.
Nope, never do.
I'm actually going to say the thing that I dislike most about Shadowmoon Valley first. And that's that Shadowmoon Valley is dark. I mean, it's literally, you're always in the shadow of the moon, which I guess is technically, supposed to be the point. But it's dark, and it makes just everything kind of blend together. Nothing really has its own color. Everything is just real cool tones. Everything is kind of just, kind of like in shadow, which I guess is technically why it is what it is. But in terms of visuals, it just isn't very... It's kind of boring. It's very samey.
Boring. Samey. I thought you were saying it was dark. I thought it's really interesting, rich, detailed, lots of cool colors, but just hard to see on the display, especially if it had a little bit of glare. That was my number one lighting problem.
There's not very many good colors though. It's like kind of the starlight colors and then dark blues and greens, and that's kind of everything you got.
Well, I think that is actually a positive thing and works to Shadowmoon Valley's benefit because it helps very much to build on Shadowmoon Valley's aesthetic theme. I think it looks really good, and that color palette helps it out. I mean, while I generally like to see more colors used, not every area needs to be colorful, and this is definitely one I think that doesn't need to be, because I feel that would hurt the aesthetic more than help it.
I think it is really colorful, actually, especially some of the fishing spots, which is a lot of what my time in Shadowmoon Valley has been doing, with the hanging vines and all the sorts of plants and flowers and fungus and things that are just growing up. I think it makes it really kind of more beautiful than Ungoro Crater by far. Even some of the Borean Tundra, Karasering Wilds, as far as really heavily vegetated, expansive zones. I think this fits the aesthetic detail of the rest of the expansion. That is just really brilliant and very highly detailed and very dense as far as the amount of detail and all the different plants they have growing, all the different colors between the plants kind of thing. I think they really carry that through the entire expansion, especially this zone.
Blarg. I don't know. I mean, it's pretty. I can say that it's pretty. It's got, as you've already said, the art team is, really just turning it up to 11 when it comes to this expansion and everything that's happening inside of it. At that same time, though, I'm still just I don't know. I guess I'm starting to hit that point where I just always want more, because I'm greedy, I guess. I will say that I was more impressed by this zone than I had been many of the others, especially with do you remember the what is it called? Like the moon willow, the giant willow that you go to meet Velen under, and you drink the dream potion.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine how long that tree actually took to make.
Probably a little while.
Because I saw it off in the distance, and I was in the middle of questing, and I wasn't supposed to go there yet, and I just immediately had to go see what that was, because it was this big, awesome, glowing thing, and I was like, what is it? And it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the Temple of Karabor, very well designed, although this is more of a gameplay thing. I still am upset that... I don't care that it's not our capital city. I'm just upset that I can't go inside.
It's a mess. Nobody loud.
Maybe, I could see that, but at the same time, I still would have liked to have gone inside. Because, yeah. So, any other thoughts on ambience, though? Really, it's really pretty. Oh, I have something else that I'd like to say on ambience.
Do it.
Especially in comparison to the zone that we reviewed previously, which is Talador. And one of our biggest complaints of Talador that it was really cramped. It was really crammed. They tried to use every last inch of space. And while they kind of tried to take you in every direction that is available in Shadowmoon Valley, there is at least open areas, and it makes it feel more realistic, more open, more... It improved the immersion so much for me starting out that I was very impressed by it, because I wasn't really impressed by some of the other zones because of simply how much they crammed in them. And so when you take your first steps into Shadowmoon Valley, the benefit of just how real this place feels compared to some of the other ones is huge for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Florian, then, what would you like to grade ambience?
I'm going to give the grand ambience of Shadowmoon Valley an A+.
Ooh.
I think it is excellently designed. It looks great. The theme, all the different areas, like their visual themes, come together really, really well. I don't have any gripes about it. I think the art team hit a home run with this one.
Evan.
Same thing. I think this is probably the best looking zone in the whole game. Not whole game. Whole expansion. I don't know. Maybe the whole game. I guess by default.
I am giving it an A. The darkness is keeping it from a plus for me. I understand that's the point, but I don't care for it. It's ridiculously pretty. I would just like... Can the light shine on this place at least once so I can see what it's supposed to look like? I mean, I've seen people, change the settings and stuff on like home servers to make it actually have real daylight, and it's really pretty. I don't care for it being dark all the time. Like, I live in Alaska right now, and you know what? The sun doesn't go down right now. It literally never goes down. And you know how awesome that is? It's amazing. And Shadowmoon Valley is where my garrison is, and you know what? The sun never comes up. So, F that. That still averages out to an A+, though. So, congratulations, Shadowmoon Valley, you're pretty. Evan, would you please give us some gameplay? Because you have completed this zone. I don't think you've done all of them for the Alliance, though, right?
No, not for not all of them for the Alliance, but I did do this zone as much on my dwarf. And I think gameplay-wise, I'm gonna just, I guess, refer to the progression of the quest line throughout the zone, because that's basically what people come here to do. I've done a couple of the Apexis quests on my Horde guy that brings me out to some of the islands and things like that. But as far as the gameplay, how it flows as a zone, how it is being in the different kind of mob centers where you go to kill like 20 of this guy or whatever, I think it really flows incredibly well. I'm never lost. I'm never really far away from where I need to be. The hubs are arranged in a kind of sequential manner that makes it easy to get from one to the next, and with very little time spent doing it. hunting down quest objectives. I'm never really looking for this hidden mountain ramp to get up to the top, and just scratch my head. Honestly, I think it was really well designed from a gameplay perspective, and there aren't any hang-ups that I can even recall.
Sure.
At all. Yeah, honestly. I think it flows really well as a zone. It reminds me kind of I don't know what it reminds me of.
I think I agree. Things like Shadowmoon Valley and what we already talked about is that the leveling experience in Warlords, it makes me excited for what we might have going forward in Warcraft. Because the questing experience for this and the way that they assembled the world for this has been done in a beautiful way. Just an absolutely beautiful way. I don't think, as much as I did enjoy the questing experience for Cataclysm and Miss Pandaria, I think that both of those have just been cleanup of themselves to lead into this. I don't think anyone could say that the questing experience for Draenor is bad, but I will say that it's not very... it doesn't have a whole lot of replay value because I can't bring myself to quest through it again, unfortunately. But Shadowmoon Valley was the first step for the Alliance, and it's done beautifully, especially because they make it shown in a way of that you don't actually have to go do this, but we're going to give you really good reason to want to. Right. And if you're paying attention, it's like, we're going to send this caravan out. Oh no, we found one of the horses from the caravan. It's like, well, what happened to them? And and now you're invested just in this small little thing of people that you didn't previously care about. And so
I agree. Yeah.
And I think Shadowmoon Valley did that a lot better than some of the other zones, especially compared to the one that we've reviewed previously, Talador. I didn't feel overwhelmingly invested in some things, like one that immediately shoots to mind for Talador is the guy that lost his work tools and he's sad. I'm like, well, of all things, your jewelry tools aren't that important, guy. Be glad you're alive compared to that group of children over there. But I think this place did a fantastic job in making me care about the things that I was questing for. Through and through, really. You get... And it's kind of your first introduction to people like Yidel, and it makes a big difference into... she gets a lot of character building here, too, which we'll talk about more in lore. What about you, Florian? Where were you sitting on the gameplay?
The gameplay was really good. I mean, the quests flowed very nicely, and there was a thing that you mentioned. It's sort of like using lore to enhance gameplay, I guess, where you really feel engaged throughout the entire zone because what you're doing is interesting and you feel like it matters, and you're seeing character development and all that. And I think that they did a really good job enhancing the gameplay using the lore to keep you engaged and interested in what's going on. Which is really important, especially for the first zone of the expansion, because they want to get you hooked and get you interested in what's going on. Aside from that, the quests, nothing terribly great or terribly boring. They were just kind of They flowed really well, and it was like a really good experience getting from place to place and having all your quests nicely bunched together. But there's nothing really... I don't remember any particularly great or interesting gameplay coming out of that.
There is one thing that I want to say that made a ridiculously huge difference for me for Shadowmoon Valley and for this expansion, and it's something small, but it's something that we have not had before in Warcraft, and that is a permanent choice. And I'm referring to after you reveal Socrathar up on Exarch's Rise. Is that what that place called? No, Elador. After you reveal the crook and all of that, you are allowed to choose a follower, and you choose one of 3. And if you choose one, you do not get the other 2. And this is something that I don't remember Warcraft doing in the past. Of here's a choice. It may not affect the story, in the way that some people want things like Dragon Age to happen, but the fact of that you are given a permanent choice in something more than, well, do you want a blue shield or do you want blue boots? Because that doesn't really matter to us, really. But I remember at the time feeling as though that was I realize now that, later it's just like, oh, well, you're swimming in followers after a while. But at the time, that felt like such a huge deal because it was a permanent choice. There was no way to go back and get the other ones, and you just had to choose and accept your choice. And that's something that I don't think I can remember Warcraft doing in the past.
But were you able to get those followers eventually anyway?
No.
It's
just like you get them there or you don't get them at all.
You're not even the people that allow you to go back and purchase missed followers, they don't even allow you to buy them.
For whatever it's worth, given the customization of followers these days anyway, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, now it's a lot less relevant, but the idea of it, but it was relevant at the beginning of the game, at the beginning of the expansion, and the idea of that Blizzard put a permanent choice more than just an item upgrade is something that I think is a big deal, because really all the questing and rewards and stuff throughout Warcraft have always been, go collect 8 bear butts and we'll give you a new cape.
Right. Yeah, it's well put.
So I do think that even though it's not a, game-breaking thing, it's like, well, does the king live or die because of your choice? I do still think that it is a very big deal that a permanent choice of something more than just gear was put into the game in that fashion. So go ahead.
Only we had stuff that affected the actual game world, like deciding whether to let Garrosh go, kind of thing,
Yeah, which unfortunately we didn't get that choice. What then would you grade gameplay, Evan?
I give it an A.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really ask for much more than that.
What keeps it from a plus?
Just because I suppose. Yeah, I don't know. It's not perfect. I don't want to. It's not leaving me the feeling of make every zone like this. I'm going to say this is a really solid execution.
Okay.
So what's bringing it up to the A is not the fact that every aspect of it is A worthy. It's that all the certain aspects of it are A plus worthy, and other aspects of it are B plus worthy.
Sure, I understand. Florian, how about yourself?
I would give it a B overall. There wasn't anything really incredible. The rares were pretty easy and didn't have any interesting mechanics. None of the quests were that involving. So, it's pretty good gameplay. Not super great.
Okay, and I'm going to give it an A minus. It's going to be extremely difficult for me to give zones higher than an A minus because they always don't do quite enough, I think. They really just are, ways to deliver bits of story and move you from one zone to another. And I think the reason being is that, I can think of plenty of zones that I would give an A or an A plus in lore, but gameplay for most questing is very, bleh. It's
hard to do a gameplay grade for a zone.
It's not difficult. It's just that most zones don't do anything that's really going to wow you in any way. And I think that's one of the bigger downfalls for zones is that everything is really just kind of the same stuff with a new skin. I mean, it's like instead of collecting 8 bear butts, I need you to go kill 10 of these little guys and collect 10, petal flowers. And, and it never really changes a whole lot. And we haven't really had any new innovation in questing at all, really. Can't really do a whole lot past that. So that does set gameplay right at an A minus. Lore, though. Florian, lay it on us.
This place is very dense with lore. The main things we have going on here are the Shadowmoon Valley quest line, which is a very, very good storyline. Gives Ural a lot of character development, particularly important since she's a new character, and Blizzard did a really good job developing her character and actually making her interesting to the player. And of course, I guess spoilers are on at this point. If you haven't played Shadowmoon Valley by now, then you probably should have done so. But Prophet Velen dies, or at least the alternative universe Prophet Velen. And he passes his little shiny head thing to Ural.
The knowledge, it's the knowledge and mark of the Prophet.
Yeah, I just see a shiny head thing. I really
Shiny
really
little
not
crystal
worried about the
thing.
value of it. Exactly. It's just a shiny thing that looks cool to me.
Damn. Supreme Lord Kazakh kind of let himself go. He looks all ugly.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole lot that goes on here. And do you guys have anything in particular that you thought was particularly excellent about the stone, or terrible about the lore here?
No, I thought the lore behind the Shadowmoon clan is really cool because it's not just like, here we have the Iron Horde and they're made of this clan, that clan, the other clan, blah blah blah. Shadowmoon actually seems to have their own kind of rich history that I didn't get to observe except for anybody else except the Frost Wolves, honestly.
Oh, nice. That's cool. I just got an epic upgrade the same as you, Evan. I got a pair of 675
Nice.
shoulders. So, ballin'. I was like, I'm gonna just turn this into an item so I can sell it. Never mind. Oh no, my item level isn't the number of the beast anymore. I'm 667. Everything is ruined forever.
It is.
The story in Shadowmoon Valley, I think, is actually one of the best that we have. Because you get to relax, oh man, we finally got away from, that horrible stuff that happened to Nanan. Well, let's try and figure out what's going on here. And you get to talk to Velen, you get to try and piece together little bits of what's happening, especially with meeting, oh god, my face. My allergies have been really rude the last few days. Especially with meeting, what is her face? The Nerzul's wife. Not Drac. Not.
Can't remember her name.
I'm running to my. She. I'm not using her as an active follower. Followers deactivated. What's your name? Rolkin. There we go. Rolkin. Yeah. I mean, that really helped. Really give some insight into just how brutish and like it gave you just a little bit more reason to hate the Iron Horde. And it's just fun to. There's lots of callbacks in here because, like, we get to see where Exarch Akama gets his scythes. Yeah, I mean, there's just it's a very well crafted zone with a real good way of delivering stuff to you in a subtle fashion that still has a lot of weight to it. And the cinematics that are involved with this zone are pretty fantastic, especially the one where, like Florian mentioned, where Velen gives his life to purify the fallen. What are those things called? The beings of light that the
Naru.
Naru. Thank you. I appreciate you, sir. No, I think it was great. And finishing the zone also feels good because you feel like you've actually accomplished something. You feel like you finished something. You feel like you feel like this zone has been taken care of and that it's safe. And I think that's a very important thing, of that this zone feels accomplished, which I'm immediately thinking of other zones that it does not feel that way. So I'll give my lore grade first, and my lore grade here is an A+ without a doubt. I think the lore for this place is beautifully sculpted, beautifully delivered, and has a lot of life to it. Without being too much, too little, and it makes enough sense. The only thing that people were questioning is, like, what did Velen actually give Yidel? And, whatever, I don't care. He gave her power, is essentially what that equated to.
Power overwhelming.
You are kind of the chosen one, is what he's kind of getting at there. So, yeah, I love the lore of this place. Evan, how about yourself?
I'm gonna give it an A. Not an A+ because Frostfire Ridge was a lot kind of worse, and I wish they had made them a little bit more even. I think Frostfire Ridge is a pretty cool, compelling storyline, like going around with the Frost Wolves and everything. But I mean, by the end, it was just like Shadowmoon Valley had a lot more like kind of relevant stuff going on, and to the storyline in general. I don't know. It seemed like a lot more compelling, honestly.
So why is that keeping Shadowmoon Valley for being an A+ then?
Not because, I mean, I wish that it wasn't just an Alliance only zone. It's a lore thing, but there's not enough Horde lore. I'm going to say that. Not enough Horde lore in there.
I'll remember this when we review Frostfire Ridge.
Yeah, but you had the better one. The better one of the two, and you're going to give Frostfire Ridge a bad grade because there isn't enough Alliance lore in there.
Yeah, totally am.
Okay, jeez. You gotta do it first. I thought these Infernals look a lot cooler. Is this the new Infernal model for the Warlocks?
Yeah.
Big shoulder blades. Big shoulder pads. They took a cues from the Orcs there.
And how about yourself, Florian? Where are you sitting at on lore?
I give the lore an A.
What keeps it from a plus for you?
What keeps it a plus? That's a good question. I don't really know. I just feel like it's an A.
That's fair.
I can't vocalize what I feel is missing. If it makes you feel better, just write down A+.
Nope, it doesn't make me feel better because it changes averages.
Okay then.
Because that gives lore an average of an A and not an A+, which is fine. Either way, I mean, apparently we really are pretty fond of this place. Ambience A+, gameplay A-, lore is an A, so I mean that averages out at a flat A because I won't say which zone I think is the best zone until we have reviewed all of the zones from Draenor, but I'm just gonna say that this zone is pretty good. I think another zone can give this one a pretty hefty run for its money. If you are Alliance, I understand your complaint, Evan, of that. In a lot of ways, I feel like Alliance and Warlords got the got the bigger stick, really, in terms of like everything. Like, I mean, a lot of people across the board say we got the better garrison. I can't argue against that. We got a lot of the stronger lore because, I mean, it really on some ways feel like the Horde is just kind of there while Alliance teams up with the Draenei and the perceived good guys to try and stop the Iron Horde, especially with how much of a centerpiece Yudel has become. I personally adore Yudel. I think she's a fantastic character, but she got so much more limelight and development and just everything, especially over Duratan did. He's like, I kind of even forgot he was around. It's because we just don't see him. But so I can understand your complaint through and through, Evan. And yeah, I mean, I guess maybe, it was our turn since, the whole last expansion people felt like was
really good point.
Was all about Horde. So, people, when we came into this, said that, oh man, we got another Orc expansion, which, sure, I can't even really agree with that because it started out as an Orc expansion, but didn't really finish that way. And the focus of the expansion was kind of the Draenei, and we got a lot of really development for them as a race, which is kind of awesome because they were kind of lacking in that regard. Any other closing thoughts on Shadowmoon Valley?
Not too sure. I'm thinking we did a good job covering that.
Wonderful. That wraps up our long show, everybody. Thank you for sticking it out with us. It really was a long one. There was a lot to talk about. I am so glad if you are still here. I appreciate you for being here, and I will appreciate if you return to us next week. Again, if you would like to send the show questions or feedback, the email is thecastbar@gmail.com. Send us a tweet at castbarpodcast. Call and leave us a voicemail at 508-738-2278. You can also you can also leave us questions and feedback through the Contact Us page on our website at www.thecastbar.com. Remember that contest from Evan. He wants to get his artist practice of flowing, and he is going to be drawing your characters, and be sure to submit screenshots of your characters as I think they should also submit their name and realm, by the way, so that if you need a little bit extra reference, you can go look them up on the Armory.
Sure. Slap on your paper transmog and then go for it. But no, I'll do my best to do it from the actual screenshot. So if you don't want to provide that information, you don't have to.
Right. Best way to do that, be submitted via email. You can also send your pictures to us via Twitter if that is more convenient for you. Just get your screenshots of your character to us in whatever way you can, and hopefully receive a cool piece of art from Evan himself. A little bit of credit is due, and that is to the guy who made the music for our bumpers. His name is Kevin MacLeod. You can find all of his work at incomtech.com. It is royalty-free under Creative Commons license, Attribution 3.0. You can find all of our old shows, and I highly recommend checking them out, as we intentionally do things like Closer Look and the reviews so that we do have an eternal content for you if you are coming into the show new. You can find all of our old shows on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube, as well as our website. On our website, as well as a list of all previous Closer Looks and reviews that we have done. If you would like to get a hold of me, I'm available on basically all forms of social media under the tag Schwahn Michael. That is SchwahnMichael. Evan, where can people find you?
Same thing, Castbar email, or you can hit me up on Twitter at EDCWow.
And Florian, how about yourself?
My Twitter continues to be disused. Email me at the Castbar. Ideally, email us all at the Castbar with your reader mail, because not reader, well, ear reader, whatever,
Woo!
Listener mail, so that we can actually have something for that section again. That would be great.
Okay. Everybody, enjoy your day, enjoy your night, enjoy your Warcraft. Try not to devour 6.2 too quickly, because reportedly we're not getting anything else until the next expansion, and that is, of course, going to be at least a year away. So settle in, because nothing's changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I hear that.
Take it easy, guys.
See ya.
You are out of time.